Hey, I'm Cody Piontek, and this is the Mustache Ride. The A1 car right here, my current perch, it's a little dead at the moment. We're working on the new engine, so last year I decided not to run coolant. Well, guess what, kids? Bad idea, because in Wisconsin, you know what? It gets freezing cold. So we started the season off by turning the key and thinking, you know, was this a jet ski and did we sink it underwater because we had water in every cylinder. Put a new intercooler supercharger in, fired it up, big burnout down the street. And it was like, you know what, we got it. Grid life's coming up, we're ready to go, and guess what, wrong. Turn the car off, go to start it, a couple seconds later, same thing. Long story short, we found out that we actually cracked the entire side of the block. We'll show you clips of that eventually here. And now it needs a new block. So my machinist out on surgery right now. The block will soon be headed there. We'll swap that back into here and then get ready for the 2020 season. All right, guys, so grab your popcorn, sit back. Here's a few clips of the current car. Suspension, because I know a lot of you guys maybe getting into it are like, hey, I want a little bit more angle. Again, this is kind of a more extreme version, obviously, considering where the car is, but I can walk you through kind of where it started. So in the beginning when we were running this, we had just extended lower control arms. It's kind of what everyone does. You hack them out here, you weld it, you box it in. This setup is actually made by a Canadian guy, FDF Fab. He's getting a little bigger now. This is the Mantis kit. As you can see, oh Jesus, there's manifold in the way. But you can get some serious angle on something like that. It really helps, high horsepower. You can really send it into the corner, you know, high gears, and it's a lot of fun. Kind of another routine thing that a lot of the 240 guys will do is going to be 300ZX front calipers and rear calipers for that point. So fronts, just a 4-pot out of a 300ZX, painted them to match the car at one point, just to be cool. And then following in here, we've got some D2 coilovers. Not a great brand, I guess, from what people think, but these things have off-roaded so much grass, hit so many curbs. I've never bent one, I've never damaged one. These are original to the car. Everything else has changed. Those are still stock, basically, from the initial build. And I love them. I wouldn't change them. I'm going to put them on other things, and they're dirt cheap. So that's that. Again, you can get into some other stuff now with steering. So this is, I believe, a Nissan Maxima inner tie rod. And then I extended the outers. They make extensions for the outers. This is kind of just a bunch of nuts that I tapped. It's ghetto, but it works. And then moving through to the rest of the stuff, that kind of sum up the suspension for the time being. But if you follow it back here, we got a T56 Magnum. We swapped that out last season. I haven't got to run it. I was running a CD009. I like the transmission. It felt good shifting. The only thing I didn't like about, with a high horsepower build anyways, is the fact that you can only run a single disc clutch. And when you're doing clutch kicks, I'm heavy on my clutch. I would make them, maybe one event I'd be replacing a clutch. So I found that to be a little bit annoying. Also, the input shaft of the transmission, for what it is extremely long. And so if you start getting, real wild with it, you're gonna have a little bit of flex on that. It's gonna ruin your pilot bearing in your basically crank, and you're gonna get a lot of flexion in that. It's just not a good thing. If you're running a 400 horsepower car, maybe it's godsend, I don't know. I wouldn't advise anyone running a CD009. I know I'm gonna get a lot of hate for that, but step up to something more robust and kind of run it from there. So next thing we're gonna walk you through, my partner here, Roxy, is the drive shaft. So that's gonna link up obviously to the back of your transmission and send power to your rear diff there. There's a company where I'm from, near Green Bay, Machine Services. they'll kind of make you any configuration you want as long as you take the measurements. Again, if you want a little tip, it's 1 inch of movement, so pull it out 1 inch after it's in, and then make your measurement from there. That's usually what we do. No issues with any bind. Rear diff is a 350Z unit, stock, welded, open diff. They come out of the Touring, I think. They're strong as hell, welded diff, it doesn't fucking matter. And again, in the rear here, it's gonna be 350Z rear axles as well. We're running 700 horse, 700 foot-pounds of torque. We have never snapped an axle. I think a lot of guys that are snapping axles, I think their suspension geometry is way off. So if you wanna look cool, you wanna hot boy out, go for it. You're gonna snap rear axles. So buy a drive shaft shop, 1,000 horsepower axles, and strap them to your SR20 and call it good. Another funny thing while we're in the back here, so I couldn't find a nut that fit the rear diff, so this is actually an aluminum lug nut holding my rear diff in my subframe, and everyone kind of gets a kick out of that. So it's like a, you know, a quick change in a sense. You can just grab your impact from your wheels and just immediately throw it back here, and you can just, you know, lose your rear diff if you need to. Back at the front again, you'll see this obviously gaping hole. We like gape, especially when it's sticking about this far out. So it's a 4-liter Whipple. It's not here currently, but you will see that at some point. And as the build progresses, we're gonna bring you guys with, at least this time. And I think you really get a feel for the car, what it's capable of, and kind of see how it unfolds as it comes back together. But underneath this, so I just got 4 quick latches that hold the hood on. Oh, still holding the hood on. Oh, Jesus. Help. You can do it. That's it. Yay. All right, we'll set this up here for the time being. All right, back to where we were. Under the hood, a lot of different colors. So this car had a blue engine bay, orange engine bay, and now a black engine bay. So as you start working on it, you kind of have this like everlasting gobstopper effect, and you'll get down to the layers you didn't even know were still there. You'll forget about them. All custom wiring done by Lindgren. Carl Lindgren at Lindgren Supercars has been a huge supporter of the car, always will be. Great friend of mine, does amazing work, despite what you may see right here, just since it's a race car. I had my fingers in it. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the run around with the 240 here. I enjoyed talking to you guys. I hope you'll stick around for some more episodes of this. Don't really know what direction we're gonna head with it. This is kind of the beginning to where, you know, the sky's the limit kind of thing. Jet skis, fast cars, crazy adventures, you name it, it's gonna be on here. Follow along, and I really appreciate it.